Did you know that William Shakespeare wasn't the only successful playwright from the Elizabethan era? Stick around to learn all about Queen Elizabeth I of England and Elizabethan Theatre. Hello and welcome to World History Encyclopedia. My name is Kelly and today's video is all about Elizabethan Theatre. Don't forget the easiest way to support us is by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to our channel and hitting that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss out on any new uploads. World History Encyclopedia is a non-profit organisation who is now on Patreon. Patreon is a brilliant site that offers exclusive benefits to those who subscribe. Your support helps us create videos twice a week, so make sure to check it out via the pop-up in the top corner of the screen or via the Patreon link down below. We can't talk about Elizabethan theatre without first talking about the lady it was named after. Elizabeth reigned as Queen Elizabeth I of England for 44 years between 1558 until her death in 1603, succeeding her half-sister Mary I of England. Elizabeth was known as the Virgin Queen since she refused to marry and was both a capable and shrewd leader. The second half of the 16th century under Elizabeth's rule is known as the Elizabethan era and is considered a golden age for England. When Elizabeth assumed the throne at just 25 years old, she inherited a fragile kingdom that had lost its territory in France. The state was close to bankruptcy, and since the political arena of the time was very male-oriented, pressure was put on queens to marry as soon as possible. Elizabeth, however, had no intention of marrying and simply stated that she was married to her country. She shook things up in the English government with her caution when spending money and her disinterest in gaining territory in France and Scotland. Under Elizabeth I, arts and culture flourished in England, and she enjoyed watching plays and outdoor spectacles, as well as being an active patron to artists and playwrights. The term Elizabethan theatre naturally refers to the style of theatre being composed and performed in England during the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, which continued under her Stuart successors. The Elizabethans didn't invent theatre, they have ancient Greece to thank for that, and during the medieval period in England, morality plays, mystery plays, and other performances during religious holidays and ceremonies were staged. What we see in Elizabethan theatre is the first professional troupes of actors sponsored by the Queen, nobles, and anyone else who had enough money to fund performances. Plays were now entirely free from religious themes, which is perhaps due to the Protestant Reformation, which in England resulted in a split from the Catholic Church thanks to Henry VIII in 1533. The Reformation allowed for greater freedom of expression on many levels, including public entertainment. This was not always considered a good thing, however. Elizabeth banned the performance of unlicensed plays in 1559, since she recognised how public art could influence both politics and the public mind. In 1572, only nobles were allowed to sponsor professional acting troupes, and from 1574, all of those acting troupes had to be licensed. Since the playwrights could move away from religious topics, they truly let their imagination run wild. With English nationalism rising like never before, historical plays were especially popular, as well as plays based on Greek and Roman history and mythology. Acting troupes or acting companies were groups of men who were professional actors and would move around performing in stately and royal homes until permanent theatres were constructed. The first professional and licensed troupe were Leicester's Men, and they belonged to Robert Dudley, the first Earl of Leicester, and a court favourite of Elizabeth. Some other acting troupes of the time were Lord Strange's Men, the Chamberlain's Men, Admiral's Men, and King's Men. You may have noticed that they're all named men, because at the time women were not allowed to act on stage. Men and young boys played all the female parts. In 1576, the first purpose-built permanent theatre was built in London. It was called the Theatre and was funded by the actor James Burbage. It was an enclosed building made of wood and without a roof. Because the theatre was so successful, more playhouses were constructed, starting with the Curtain. Then James Burbage opened the Blackfriars Theatre. Then there was the Rose, built in 1587, and the Swan, built in 1595. The establishment of theatres meant no more travelling around, so more time and money could be put into producing more plays and increasing the production value of performances. Plays would only be performed a handful of times so that the year-round audience would be kept entertained. This audience was made up of nobles and commoners, men and women, because although women weren't permitted on the stage, they were allowed to watch. The Elizabethan Theatre had a rectangular stage with a gallery which would be used for celestial characters like gods to speak from, or would be used in scenes such as Juliet's famous balcony from Romeo and Juliet. The stage would be bare and minimal props were used, and this was fine since the costumes were always incredibly elaborate and the scripts very emotive. Without lighting, all performances were staged during the day. There was a trapdoor in the stage to drop or raise characters, and the 2 doors to exit the stage weren't on the sides like in modern theatre, but at the back. It wasn't until the second half of the 17th century that elaborate painted backgrounds were incorporated, and more space was required backstage, that the stage exits were moved to the sides, and around this same time, women were allowed on the stage. In 1599, the theatre was relocated from Holywell Street in Shoreditch to the south bank of the River Thames and would become world famous under its new name, the Globe Theatre. The Globe Theatre was owned by Burbage's sons and some of the members of the troupe Chamberlain's Men, including none other than William Shakespeare. The Globe Theatre was basically a circle made of wood and without a full roof. There were 3 tiers of seating as well as standing room, which were the cheapest tickets, and had a capacity of around 2,000 people. It got its name from the globe on its roof, which had Shakespeare's famous line, "All the world's a stage," in Latin. The most well-known and popular Elizabethan playwright, of course, is William Shakespeare, who was born in Stratford-Upon-Avon in 1564. He became known in theatre circles in 1592, and he joined Chamberlain's Men 2 years later. Shakespeare wrote at least 37 plays, which was around 2 a year, as well as a number of poems and sonnets. None of the original manuscripts have survived, so dating them has been somewhat of a challenge, but his first play is usually said to have been Henry VI, Part 1, which is dated to around 1589. His plays are often categorised into histories, comedies and tragedies, and he is known to have invented or adapted over 1,700 common English words. Believe it or not, there were other great playwrights during the Elizabethan era and under the Stuart kings. The next most celebrated playwright after William Shakespeare is Christopher Marlowe, who was born in 1564. Marlowe wrote successful plays such as Chamberlain the Great, The Tragedy of Dido, Queen of Carthage, and his best-known work, Dr. Faustus. But a brawl in a tavern, which has been speculated as an assassination because he worked as a spy for the government, caused his death in 1593. The next greatest playwright of the period is Ben Jonson, who escaped life as a bricklayer to become a playwright instead. Although his first play, Isle of Dogs, which was successful, got him in trouble because the authorities thought it incited rebellion. He went to prison for a bit, and then after he was released, he went back for the second time after killing an actor in a brawl. When he was released for the second time, he wrote a bunch of successful plays, poems, and masques. Other playwrights of note include Thomas Kyd, whose The Spanish Tragedy is considered one of the greatest revenge plays of all time prior to Shakespeare's Hamlet. Kyd is said to have written an early version of the Hamlet story as well. John Webster's plays were also popular, as were those of Francis Beaumont and John Fletcher, to name only a few. These writers transformed European drama and popularised a number of themes familiar to audiences in the present day, such as mistaken identity, revenge, insanity, supernatural events and ghostly visitations, romances between couples separated by family differences or war, and histories of the rise and fall of noble figures. Have you read, watched or performed in any plays written during the Elizabethan or Jacobean eras? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on our new videos every Tuesday and Friday. This video was brought to you by World History Encyclopedia. For more great articles and interactive content, head to our website via the link below. If you like my shirt, you can find this design and a bunch more in our shop at worldhistory.store, or you can find the link to it under our merch tab down below. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon with another video.